Good morning, people. Or sorry, good morning, guys. I'm just being funny. Ha ha ha. So my day effect. Anyhow, um, we're gonna go. We have a long agenda and try to get it all covered within our hours, and such. So, um, Dion or Andrew, could you pull up the agenda, please? Okay. Maria, go and take over the icebreaker.
Okay, thank you, George. Good morning. Welcome. Um, let's go ahead and get started with our icebreaker. So, what would you do if you had $1 million? Is our icebreaker question this morning. Please go ahead to introduce yourselves, and I guess I will start. So, Maria Park, Senior Program Manager at Asian Health and Service Center, co-chair here with George, and oh my goodness. We had this question before and we said something like, I don't know, buy an island with nice beaches and and have houses for all my friends and so our family members. I think that's what we talked about. Anyways, I'm gonna pass it on to how about Susan?
Susan Garcia, Community Health Centers of Lane County. I'm a community partner. And I was just thinking about this yesterday because I still haven't checked my lottery ticket. So I might be a millionaire. We don't know. But I think I'm going to still work. My husband won't have to work. He can usher the kids around. And then I'm going to be able to pay for my daughter's college in the fall and save for my son's college. So I have it planned out. Um, next, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew Demaray, Senior Business Analyst for the One Online Portal. If I had $1 million, I'd probably try to invest it in something and make more money off of that. I don't know. Probably hire someone to do that for me because I don't know much about finance or any of that. But I think if you had $1 million, you should probably be able to make a little bit more, turn that into more money somehow. So that would be my goal. Let's go Vixen.
Vixen Radford Wex, and I work for Northeast Oregon Network, and I'm a community health work and outreach and enrollment specialist serving Wallowa County, which is the northeastern tip. Ironically, my daughter and I just came home from Rose Parade on Saturday, and we were just discussing this, that if she ever said she ever won, and she said she would do what I have always dreamed of doing. I would like to start a facility that has alternative care from actual, I guess, Western medicine and do more of like the Chinese medicine and like foot baths and MOPA, Dr. Rife lights and things like that. There used to be one in Lafayette, Oregon, that my son went to when he had cancer, and I really put a lot of effort that it saved his life. So I've always wanted to do one of those in Wallowa County. So, but I would probably just do that, but it doesn't make any money. So I will go to April.
Um, Hi, April Paul, Neighbor Impact Childcare Resources. I would agree with Andrew. Fortunately, I feel like $1 million isn't that much money when I add up my mortgage and car payment and my student loans. Then I am out of dollars. So I think I would still pay those things off and then, or pay off some of those things and then invest in a way that would make a lot more money. So I could work not at all would be my ideal. Or I could work for myself somehow, probably owning an event venue. So I will popcorn to Sydney.
Hi, Sydney here from Neighbor Impact Childcare Resources in Baby Promise in Central Oregon. And I would kind of have to second that, invest, also maybe buy a house, travel. I agree it would go quick. So something like that. And I have no idea who's left. So somebody else just go ahead and pop in if you're left.
I can go. Brandy Strom, I'm with the Maslow Project. I'm a case manager and the team lead for Josephine County area where I'm at in Grants Pass right now. And if I had $1 million, I would help family, of course, whatever that looks like for individual family and friends, as far as like housing and whatnot. And I would travel for sure and invest. Everyone's got great ideas here. I like, and I'll pass it to whoever hasn't gone.
I can go next. Veronica Kritzky, Senior Business Analyst for the Oregon One mobile app. If I had $1 million, I would put it towards opening a shelter for women and children that are victims of domestic abuse. And I will pass it to George. Have you gone yet?
Nope. This is George. I'm co-chair with Maria. And if I had $1 million, I'd do one of two things. I would either go and spend it and make sure everybody was fed through all the food, or I would go and build apartment complexes for people with any type of disability there is to make sure they had a home and an apartment to go to. And let's go with Brandy Arthur.
Good morning, I'm Brady Arthur, OS2 Central Coordinations. Hard to follow that one up, George, but I think that if I had $1 million, I would invest it. Much like Andrew, try to make another $1 million off of that. But I think I would open up a batting cage and an indoor facility up here because they don't have enough of those for softball and baseball up here. And I will pass it to Dion. Have you gone?
Not yet, thank you.
Oh, you're so sorry.
Dion Destin, I'm executive support for our sponsor, Jillian Johnson. Very similar, Brandy. I like where your mind is there. I would definitely pay off my debt and probably do a nice, fun, long trip somewhere. But after that, invest, or I've always wanted to build a 4 or 5 baseball fields facility. Just to give kids more opportunities to play some ball. So, let's see. I don't think I've heard from Azucena,
Nope,
so I'll
you
pass it
haven't.
over.
Thank you. Susana Moreno, ella OEP Equity and Engagement Strategy Manager. And I think the first thing at the top of my mind is to buy my parents a home. So that would be like, if that's all the money I had, I'd be like completely happy. After that, I would pay off the remainder of this home and my car payment because they bother me. And hopefully I'll have a little bit left to just donate it to a good cause, and I would keep working because I'd be all out of money. But I would have no car payment and no house payment, and that would be enough. Let's see, who hasn't gone yet? Andrew, I know you haven't gone yet, so I'm just gonna send it over to you.
Oh, I did go. I was gonna invest my million.
Oh, that's right. You
But
were
I
the one first. That's right.
yeah, I think I haven't heard from NJ.
She already went.
NJ did?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I Inje with the Asian Health and Service Center. Probably building a community with that where I can live with the rescue cats and dogs.
We've got 2 people that didn't go, as Rocio and Veronica.
Veronica went. I think it's just Rocio.
I'm gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
receives it.
So Rocio, with the applicant portal technical team, I would pay off bills, travel, and if anything is left over, I don't know, share with family.
Thank you all for sharing. I think I'm gonna probably pass it back to Andrew or Dion now. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Maria. So to recap, kind of some of the work we've been doing in the upcoming builds. So we'll talk about request 77 part 2 again today. This one we're bringing back with some updates after we got some input from policy. Part 1 of that went in October. Oops, sorry. Geez, I'm jumping all around here. Request 82, links to learn about programs on the Let's Get Started page is scheduled for the May 13th build. So that went in last month, as did request 95, implementing a system change where successful password resets will automatically re-enable previously disabled accounts. Request 89 also went in last month. Rewrite educational expense question in the applicant portal to indicate the request is for that specific academic year. And request 100 is the last of the updates that went in with our May build, and that was expanding the number of characters in response to the field to the question asking for a description of the user's disability or condition. So request 110 is scheduled for our July build. That is updating the unearned income details to differentiate various school fundings, grants, 529 plans, scholarships, etc., and clarifying non-Title IV funding. Request 125, add character counter to all open text fields that have limited typing space. That's scheduled for August 12th. And request 114, enabling users to switch between authorized representative and individual roles directly from the dashboard without needing to log out. This is one we approved at our last meeting, and that is scheduled for September.
Now, is there any questions? Is there any questions to ask Andrew before we go on? Okay, are we okay with all this stuff, right? Okay. Veronica, I think you're up.
I think we actually have some updates from Azucena with the Spanish OOIC group first.
I just said the wrong person. Sorry, Andrew. Go
No,
ahead.
no worries.
All right. Well, I think we've chatted here before. We are developing a Spanish advisory group similar to this group here. It's going to primarily focus on the user experience for our Spanish applicant portal because it is a separate kind of website entity from our English applicant portal. Basically, when you make an update in the English version, it doesn't automatically make an update to the Spanish applicant portal. So we have some opportunity there to make recommendations and changes that wouldn't automatically affect the English applicant portal and vice versa. So we want to form very similar to this, right? We have get community members and community partners who use the Spanish applicant portal, the ONE online account. We have our first date set, and that is going to be for July 22nd, I believe, from 10 to 12 at this point. I am trying to see if I can share a document online on this chat, and for some reason it's not letting me share it. So more than likely I will just send an email. So if you know anybody who is interested, I'll send you like both the Spanish and the English version document where you can share it, or if you speak Spanish and use the Spanish applicant portal and would like to join, we would love to see you there. But please share widely because we just want to make sure that we have a lot of different representation. And that's what I have.
Okay, so is there any questions for Racina? Sorry, trying to pronounce your name right.
It is a complicated name. Azucena, thank you.
So any questions for her on this? Okay, I have a question for you. Are you going to apply this anywhere else on the online system?
Am I going to do what?
Are you going to apply this also on other means on the online system also?
When you say apply this, what do you mean?
Like, are you going to apply it towards the characters where when someone goes and they put in the answers to questions and stuff, where it changes from English to Spanish on the characters?
Yeah, I think that's what the goal is here of this group is making sure that when a user does switch the language from the English to Spanish, that we're making updates that work for the Spanish version of the online portal as well, and that we get input from Spanish speaking communities who, specifically use that part of the portal.
Okay.
But it is like a distinct kind of website. So only because we make a change for the Spanish version won't automatically translate to the English version change. So we can finagle the wording with one and it won't affect the other one because it's its own kind of live space on its own.
Okay. Okay. I'm just learning as I go.
Mhm.
Hope I wasn't too confusing.
No, you're totally fine.
Okay. So there's no questions. Let's go on to the next on the agenda.
So this discussion is actually going to get pushed to our next meeting because Lucas, our correspondence business analyst, was not actually able to join us today. So we'll be skipping over the discussion about notices that we started last month, and we'll pick that up in the July meeting because Lucas should be able to join us then. It is not break time yet, so I think.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Could you go back to where you got Lucas coming in?
Yep.
Could you let the group understand what the RIF is for, what it means, and what the HOP is for?
RFI is a request for information. So that's like when we need additional information after you've submitted an application or a change or renewal, something like that. We'll send out a letter or a notice through the online portal saying like, hey, we need your pay stubs from the last, month, or we need verification of this expense that you told us about, things like that. And then HOP is Healthier Oregon Program. It's a type of the assistance that you can get through Medicaid. And yeah, the other acronym I see on here is HR1. That's House Resolution 1. So that's things related to like medical work requirements, changes in the how often folks have to renew. There's a number of different changes associated with that. But last month we talked about this a little bit and we got some good ideas for starting points to have this discussion with Lucas. And then I think the goal with bringing Lucas in is to kind of help level set us a little bit and get us on track with like, as we start looking at some of these notices, what are things that we can change? What are things that we won't be able to change, and how exactly we go about doing that? Because notices can be kind of complicated. There's a lot of the way that our notices are built are pertain to Oregon administrative rules and things that we're required to have in those notices. Other things are simpler and just like how we word things. So Lucas will, is kind of our expert in this area, and he'll be able to give us a good idea of how we should move forward as we talk about making updates to notices.
Thank you for explaining that, Andrew.
Of course. So then I think in place of this, we're going to have Veronica talk about this AP modernization initiative.
Okay.
Yes, so we are currently in the research and review stage of updating the system on how people register and log into their ONE Online accounts. So we are hoping to get some help from you guys on any feedback that you guys have from what you guys are hearing from users or what you're experiencing yourself. So we're looking for any pain points for the registration process and any other suggestions that you guys have for overall making the account creation and the login process easier and more user-friendly. Some examples of what we are working on improving is the user registration process for all account types. So individuals, authorized representatives, community partners. Also the login process for all account types, adding dual roles, so adding individual or authorized representative roles, so your account can function in both ways. The email verification process during account creation. So that's the very first time when somebody's creating an account. Step one is to confirm that they have a valid email address. And then if they lost or need, for whatever reason, need us to resend that email verification link, we're working on updating that resending email link process as well. The changing password expiration, changing the email address on the account, and then also using the forgot password or forgot username settings on the account. So we did send this out on Friday. I don't know if anybody has questions or suggestions, feedback today. If you guys do, happy to answer questions and take feedback back. Otherwise, my deadline is Wednesday, June 17th at noon. If you guys can just email, you can respond back to the agenda email, and I will gather everything together and take it back to Deloitte. Again, we're at the very beginning stages of researching and just gathering feedback. So I will turn it over to the group to see if there's any suggestions or questions that you guys might have.
Guys, keep in mind that this is very important in her work. So it could be easier, not just for us, but for others as well. So what ideas do you want to give her?
No pressure. You guys do have about a week or so.
So this is George. What other stuff are you wanting to add to this idea, Veronica?
So Andrew actually just pasted in chat the list that I named off. These are all of the different processes that we are looking at updating right now.
Okay.
So the whole account registration process, changing password, forgot username, how to log into an account for both. I should have mentioned this is for both the online portal and the Oregon mobile app as well.
Okay, now is this easier to do this on a computer, or will this also be easier on doing this on the phone for a person?
The online portal is easiest to use on the computer, but we are looking at updating both the mobile app and the website, the portal.
Another question would be with the picture ID idea that's coming up, or has that been in place yet, where you have to have a picture to create an account?
That will be implemented in the middle of July. So coming right up.
Now, how could they do that on the phone? How could they put a picture on their account on their phone? Or do they have to do it on the computer first and then it'll catch on to the phone?
So if you're creating your account on the computer, on the ONE Online portal, you start the account creation process on your computer. And then once you get to that remote identity proofing piece, you'll have the option to either get a text message sent to your phone with a link, or you can scan a QR code, and that'll take you to the website where you can take the picture of your photo ID and then a selfie.
And that's on the phone?
Yep, the picture of the ID and selfie can only be done on mobile devices.
And I just want to clarify real quick, George. It's not, so the easiest way for someone to verify their identity as they're setting up an account will be to use the photo ID when they need to, but it's not a required, like you don't, there's still a way for users who can't complete that process to call in and have their identity manually verified too. So it's, just wanted to clarify that part.
Okay. So will this situation be okay on tablets too? To create an account on tablets?
The remote identity proofing process itself or the whole thing?
The whole thing?
The website is not mobile optimized or tablet mobile optimized, so you could do it. It's not going to be the best user experience. You should be able to do the remote identity proofing process on a tablet as long as it's got a camera.
The reason I ask is because I have a lot of people that are requesting, and they're saying that it might be a little easier for them to do it on a tablet than it would be on a phone. So they're hoping that we have the idea or at least the positive straightaway to be putting this on tablets too, because tablets are a lot bigger picture than a phone will be. So I'm handing it over to you guys to come up to see if you guys can also put it on tablets. Because that's when a lot of people are asking or hoping that that could happen on tablets also.
Well,
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
Sorry, Veronica. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say the good news is that come September with our Medicaid work requirement CR, we are actually mobile optimizing a couple of our screens on the portals. They will load and be a lot more user friendly for people using it on a tablet or on a mobile device.
Okay.
It's going to be a whole different effort to mobile optimize the whole website.
Okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's a matter of having the capacity in terms of financially funding and the time to do it. And we are currently we have a lot of federal requirements and things we have to meet with the HR1 medical updates. So as we can, like Veronica mentioned, like as we're working on the Medicaid work requirements, we're trying to find ways to update as much as we can of the portal to be more what they call mobile responsive. So like the website just works on a mobile device, looks nice on a mobile device. You don't need to download a separate app for it. But yeah, it is going to be in chunks like that, unfortunately, just because of the way that our development timelines and stuff are working out. But I want to give a chance for Vixen to speak. You've been patiently waiting with your hand up, Vixen.
Well, so if we as community partners are helping someone like do an application, will we have to do this where like I do all my work on a computer, and if I were to upload like their ID, I guess part of that comes from I work with a lot of veterans, and for one, my older veterans don't have I have ones that don't have smartphones or they have the dumbest smartphone. And so I can't imagine an 87-year-old veteran being able to do this, and that's why they most like come to me. So my question is, yeah, is this something we will be able to do still for them?
Are you referring to the remote identity proofing process where they need to take a picture of their ID and then a selfie?
Yeah.
So if you're helping them set up their online account, it's a one-time thing that every new user who registers for a new account will need to do. Right now, they're answering the 3 to 5 questions that are generated by Experian based on their credit report. So those 3 to 5 questions are going away and it's being replaced by taking a picture of your photo ID and then a selfie. If you're helping people set up their online accounts, you should be able to help them with this process as well.
Okay, so if we're doing the application for them, like we go in and do their one application, and then we say that they would like an email of what they get. The question is, do they still have to do this ID verification, or will it just be able that they can have? Because a lot of times we don't help them set up their one because they don't want that. And most of my people don't want anything electronic anyways. They want paper notices.
Yeah, so that process is specific to setting up a new account. It is not part of the application process when somebody's applying for benefits.
Okay, perfect. That was the question. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Vixen. The reason why I also brought it in too, Veronica and Andrew, is because some of the people I talk to are stating that the phones have tiny letters and it's a lot harder to see on the phone because of the screen. That was also another reason for them hoping that it could be putting it on tablets. See, with tablets, I don't know if anybody's got tablets, but the tablets has got cameras with it too. Like my tablet's got a camera, it's got a pencil that comes with it. And it's easier for people if they're doing services like food stamps or whatever, just to get on a tablet when they can't get to a computer. Well, you know what I mean. It's hard. You got this little stencil, little pen that some phones come with and some that don't. And you got one tablet that comes with pencils or pens like mine.
Yeah, that's great feedback, George. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal would be, you know, no matter what device you're using, a desktop computer, laptop computer, phone, tablet, that it all works the same and that there's no sort of barrier being created so that the person can apply in a way that works best for them. Unfortunately, that's not where our website's at right now. It is designed to work best on a computer. So we're, again, trying to do what we can to update the most important parts of the system to work correctly on all devices. And then, yeah, like I said, the goal would be ultimately for there to be no difference between accessing the website based on depending on what device you're using.
I also wanted to bring it to your attention, Veronica, that not the scammers, the people that gets into digital computers and stuff. I know the name of it, can't think of it right now because it's Monday. But anyhow, they like to get into personal information and all that. They also now have it to where they can get into scan codes. So if you're going to have a scan code where you do it with your phone, you might want to think about your IT and checking every 5 minutes or so to see if anybody's has changed the code on the scan code, because now the scammers is already now knowing how to change that.
Yeah, thanks, George. That QR code is going to be generated uniquely for each individual, and it has an expiration limit on it too. So it's not something that's always going to hang out there.
I had to relate this to the person at the governor's office, and when we talked and stuff, and she goes, "Wow, you gotta be kidding me. Now the state's got to change the QR code now again?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're changing codes and stuff on QR codes." And they're saying, "Well, thanks, George, for letting me know." So now they're being tricky about that. So any questions to ask for Veronica? No? Any other additional information you want to say before we go on, Veronica?
Nope, we'll make sure to send out this list of things that we're updating in our email after the meeting as well. And then just a reminder, we have until June 17th at noon to send back any feedback.
And you want this on email?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was included in the body of text in the agenda that I sent out on Friday. So if you need to reference it as you're thinking about this more, take a look at that email.
Okay. Let's go on to the next thing.
All right, let me take a look at the agenda, see where we're at.
And to let you all know, on this agenda, we had to make some arrangements, take some pieces out and put some pieces in so we can somehow fit the break in there.
Yep. Yeah, we were scheduled for break at 11:20, so we can start this conversation and then go to break in a couple minutes. So the next step was to talk about recruiting for OOIC, and we were going to share this flyer. This should hopefully not be the first time. Well, I guess if anyone has joined the, I think most of us have been around for a while, but we did look at this last year. I want to say like last summer, maybe like a year ago, with James and talking about this flyer that we use to advertise OOIC, what it is we do, why it's important, things like that. So we had George on the agenda to talk about this. Let me, where did my agenda go? Bear with me, folks. So yeah, we wanted to review the flyer and come up with a plan to finalize distribution streams. So I think talking about how we want to share this, if we need to make any additional updates to this flyer before we do, things like that.
Yeah. The reason for the recruitment, guys, with this type of situation is that on DSEC, and I'll tell you why this came up. I'm on DSEC down here in Jackson, Josephine County. I'm one of the members of it for the 2-county thing, and we had ran into a big problem, which they never thought about, and that was when the chair position term ended in June, and July we select a new chair. Well, no one wanted to take the chair position on the committee. And then so I volunteered to put my name in there and told them it's going to be my last time being chair down in DSAC. So if I get voted in for just July of this year to July of next year, they're going to have a hard time trying to find a chair and a vice chair because I no longer want the chair position in DSAC and no one wants the position. So this is where we have to think about how and work with Andrew and them, how to help create a recruitment situation. Because some of us may be termed out, some of us not turned out. And I don't want to see this group to be ending up like DSAC and in a bind, if you know what I'm trying to say here. So if you have any ideas, now would be the time to give your ideas. Any idea would be great to give. So
And this is Dion. I had an action item as well for this, just to find out if there's sort of any limitations on whether advocates can join multiple committees and groups. And I confirmed with Joseph Lowe. I checked in with him, and I can't remember his title at the top of my head, and I don't want to do it a disservice, but he supports majority of the advisory groups, and he did confirm that there are no limitations to the advisory or advocacy groups, and so you can join multiple regardless of where or who owns, I guess, if you will, the group, unless that committee has a specific verbiage in their charter that says that you're not allowed to, but otherwise it's you're welcome to join multiple.
So guys, we need to come up with a plan on this. Go ahead, Maria.
Oh, I was gonna just say I noticed just kind of looking at the bottom of the page there, if we're kind of looking for recruitment, I don't know, for some reason, maybe this has changed, the flyer had changed or not, but if there's a way that we could put information about, like, are you interested to join the committee? If we wanted to include something like that in there.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, Maria. I had noticed that myself that uh, we do a good job here, I think, of saying like what we do, why it's important, and how to share ideas with the committee, but not like what to do if I want to be part of the committee, or even that we're looking for people to join the committee. So
Right. Yeah.
I think something like a blurb of like, you know, and we're always interested if you're interested in joining, we're always looking for additional voices to join the committee, something like that. And then have I don't know if I don't know what the proper channel would be to reach out, if that's to um send something to the OEP engagement email here, or if there's a better way that we could have folks reach out to indicate their interest in joining.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
So I think that's one action item we can take back, is bring this back with some updated section on here specific to recruiting. And sorry, was that Dion? Was that you that I cut off?
Yeah, no, I paused and then I think I chose to talk right as you started, just so I can make it confusing. Um, I was actually just thinking, I wonder if it would be as easy as just changing, instead of just having questions, say questions or interest, question mark, send them to OEP. I wonder if it would be that simple. I just don't remember what the actual enrollment process actually is. I think James kind of took care of those when we've had new folks join, so I will defer, but I wonder if it would be that simple as just adding questions and interest to the flyer.
I wonder if we should do some type of form where folks can just fill out like their name and email. That's what we're doing for the Spanish advisory group. So we could do something similar.
Yeah, I like that.
Hey, Susan here says, Wishfish, make a way for community partners to send a link to people to make it easier for them to email in their online portal. Not sure how that would work exactly.
Yeah, so that was kind of the end of the last discussion, which I think that's a great idea. We have something similar on our worker side to like send an invite to create an account. I think it's an interesting idea of like how we would make that work for community partners. But that was the last conversation. It looks like Veronica made a note of that. So we'll be taking that back. Susan also mentioned that related to this conversation, we should send this to OCHE, which is the Office of Community Health and Engagement, to share with their monthly collaboratives. It's a statewide group of community partners and medical assisters. So I think that's an awesome way for us to get that out for that section of that portion of this committee. I think we need to also think of how we're going to spread the word, get this information out to members of the public and benefit recipients, so that we have a good balance of different groups.
Have you guys thought about maybe getting and checking with Facebook and advertising for that way? Did you check and see if it was okay for the state?
Yeah, so I think Azucena was going to talk with our comms team and kind of see what the possibility was of us sharing on our state pages this information. So I don't know exactly where we're at with that just yet.
Yeah, we can ask for updates, but they review everything that we submit like one-on-one. So once we know what we want to update, we can submit that request, and it just trickles down to them as far as when they can do it and any feedback that they have around it.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea, George. And I think once we have a final version of this this flyer that has the recruitment information on it and stuff, we can get that to our comms team and see where we can get that shared out.
Did I suggest last time when we did the agenda last week that for you guys or someone to check on the state website, APD, and see if that could be a link on their website going to sign up for this one? Did I suggest that?
I don't remember us specifically talking about the APD website, but it would have to be a conversation with our comms team to their comms team. They're very specific as to like how much information they share in each one. So we can ask our comms team to see if they can connect with their comms team from APD to see if they would be willing. I'll be honest, I think that's going to be a reach because comms teams normally they like keeping things as simplified as possible because there's so much information. So if it's something that's going out from one program to another, I wonder if our own comms team would automatically tell us no, but I can ask.
Okay. Could we also advertise on YouTube?
When you say advertise, what are you thinking exactly?
Like tell people what this group does, what we do, what we make a decisions on, what we look at.
So create an upload of video specifically to try to recruit more folks for.
Yeah.
You know, what if so we already the recordings of these go to YouTube, and what if, you know, in the posting of that, in like the details of the video or something, I had a link to whatever form we create for recruitment.
Yeah, I can double check if we can add that information, but if I don't see why we couldn't until they tell me no.
Yeah, I think that might be more efficient than making like a specific like one-time video. If we were able to like include it in each recording post, like if, you know, someone's watching it and they want to learn more about what it is, we could link to this flyer or again whatever form we create.
Here's a question for all of you. Brandy Storm and Brandy Arthur. Which one of you work for the state? Is it Storm? Is it Arthur?
I work for the state, George.
Okay. Would it be Brandy Storm? Would it violate anything if you guys had a website? Could the online service link be on your guys' website, Brandy Storm? With the work that you do, and if clients wants to join, could we do it that way? Could we do it on yours too, Vixen and Susan? Make a link.
I think you're trying to talk to the other Brandy. I don't work for the state. Is that right? You're trying to talk to Brandy Arthur's?
Yeah, I was trying to talk to one of you that don't work for the state.
Oh, I see. I don't think I would be the person to give that kind of approval, I guess, but could look into it.
George, do you mean something like in different organizations or folks here that they can share out with their networks? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Like if you have a web page of your organization and Susan has one, for example, on hers, and so does Brandy, you know, they can maybe put a link on your guys' website, so your own, and maybe recruit that way too.
I could find out if that's something that we would be able to do. I know that I could share it internally with other workers within the organization.
Okay, and what about you, April? Could you do that, or aren't you not allowed?
Sorry, can you say that again?
If you had a website with your organization, would you be okay with putting a link on your guys' website to recruit people to come on online?
And we can ask. It's more of a matter of where on the website it would go. You know, the majority of our clients are probably also accessing the one system. I would say, if anything, maybe we could go on our Facebook. But let me do some asking around to the powers that be. We're just one department of many. So I don't know, but maybe.
Okay, what about Anja and Vixen? Is Anja in your department, Maria?
She is. But I'll let Vixen go first.
Vixen.
Or not. I'll go first. Um, so George, I think there's so many different ways that we can outreach to folks. So, like for example, for our Asian population, we have lots of different social media platforms like Naver, Viber, WeChat, WhatsApp, Line. There's lots of different ways that we can outreach. And so not just the website or Facebook, but I'm sure that all the folks here have different ways that they outreach, right? Or even just one-on-one consultations, things like that. So, I'm sure we can all try to support and outreach in our own networks. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's part of it, Andrew. At least that's part of it.
Yeah, that's great. So I think a lot of these are great ideas. I'm getting kind of two major action items from this so far before we're able to I think it's hard for us to make like a hard decision on some of these things of like, could we put this on your website when we don't even have it finalized yet? So I just put in the chat two action items. One, and this is kind of more for us, the state side, is rework the flyer to include information about recruitment and a link to where individuals can request to join. And then two, I like the idea of creating a form rather than just like an open-ended email. So create a form for individuals to complete if they're interested. And I think Maria had the suggestion of making sure there's details on there about like what are the expectations, like who should be joining, what's the time commitment once you do a join, so that we make sure that folks know what they're asking to do and commit to. And then I think after that we can, once we finalize the flyer, we can have further discussions about like who's able to host this, where we can host this. And I think there's probably some internal state stuff we could do too, like where on the one portal could this be? Could this go in like our frequently asked questions page or our resources page to have a link to that? So yeah, we're also due for a break, so I kind of want to wrap up this portion of the conversation with these action items, and I want to give a chance for anyone to add any final thoughts that they have. But I think we need to do some more work on our side and then bring this back in a future meeting.
Okay, I want to give Susan the time to talk here.
Yeah,
Totally.
also going to say about the one portal, because that's where you're finding the users, people who might respond to the I think there's at the end you can respond to how well it went, your user, how you how you did it, like
Yeah, the customer survey.
yeah, the survey, thank you. It could also say if you are interested in helping us approve the one portal, please click this link and then they can send their information.
Thanks, Susan. So we're going on a break, right?
Yeah, if no one else has any final thoughts to add, then let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break.
So I will see you guys back at 11:40. John, when you want to turn the recording off? Hi, everybody. Is everybody back from break? It's 11:40, 11:41. And I'm going to hand it over to Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thanks, George. So we are. It's my screen. Can we see the briefing sheet on the screen?
I can. Can anybody else see it? Okay.
All right, I think we're good. It's telling me I'm sharing, but usually there's kind of like a highlight on what I'm sharing. I just wanted to make sure that's what we were looking at. So for the rest of the meeting, pretty much we'll be talking about some of these requests here, and then at the end we'll reserve some time to wrap up with any updates from George or others. So first off, request 114. We already voted on this. It's already been submitted. But if y'all remember from last month, we did some kind of on the fly, like moving around to buttons and things. And I just wanted to give a chance for folks to take a quick look at what like the final recommendation that we gave to our developers were. And that was to put this the switch to authorized representative view or switch to individual view in a green button. So it'll look like that, much nicer than the kind of on the fly edits that I did last month. Here's a version with switch to individual view. And then the other update as part of this is giving this opportunity here for auth reps to turn off the authorized representative role from the settings page. So again, no votes needed on that. Just wanted to give a more official view of the mockup from last month. So the first request that we'll talk about this month is one that we talked about, I think, towards the end of last year. The first part of this went in October, so it probably means we were talking about in like August, September, actually. But request 77, Part B, Part 2, when reporting changes about a household member leaving, follow-up questions need to be clarified for many situations. So when a user is trying to remove a household member, it asks the question, why is individual listed on the case? If the user responds with anything besides yes, then the subsequent question does not make a lot of sense as seen in the screenshots below. So clarifying these questions and their structure will make the system much easier to use and understand. So again, this we had already moved forward. We had approved this at one point, and during the process of trying to get approval from policy, as this particular part of the portal impacts all different policy areas, we were getting feedback that adding all the additional help text, while help text was helpful, it was overwhelming because the way we had proposed it was to just always display all of the help text for each different option. Yes, part-time, no temporarily away, or no. And so they had a suggestion that rather than do that, we take this a step further and take a look at how these options are being displayed. So I want to highlight this first screenshot here is Tony living with Bobby. They've answered yes, part-time. And we can see down here, they have a lot of these boxes to choose from: employment training, education, caring for sick individual. Some of the boxes are grayed out. Some of the boxes are able to be clicked. And that's all based on what benefits this family, this individual have selected. So I think looking at this is probably just a medical application, or maybe a medical and SNAP, because it's some of the SNAP only options are available there. We want to propose that any of these options that are grayed out are hidden when they're not needed. And so it would only display the options that are applicable to the programs on the case currently or that are being requested as part of this application. And then in addition to that, the help text that we came up with would only display for those options that are being displayed. So doing what we can to display as little information on screen as possible. There would still be some situations where a family is applying for all benefits that they would see all of these options. And there's not really a workaround around that because they need to see all these options. But really, we're bringing this back to discuss the proposal to, for example, here, if this person was applying for medical only, it should only show these two options. And then the help text, when they click that help text icon, would only show the help text for those two icons or for those two options. And then SNAP, here's an example for SNAP of what they should see for if it's a SNAP only application. And again, we would only display the help text for those items there. So that's really it. If anyone has any questions, we can talk more about it, but really we're looking for a vote just to kind of make these updates that were recommended by policy to simplify this even further and make it easier for folks to understand as they're using this part of the application.
I'm really glad you guys are doing that. Is there a way to make the system smarter to where certain questions don't have to be asked if a person is like 2 weeks old? Like about like, are they working? Are they bringing in money? It's like, no, they are not.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. So I think we try to do that with a lot of the kind of newer updates that we're putting in the system. We try to build in that logic. And I think one example of it is the real D SOGI questions that we did, probably almost, a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago now. But those had a lot of logic of like, okay, if this person's under, a certain age, we're not going to ask what their sexual orientation is or anything, because that, they at that point probably would not have expressed what their sexual orientation is. And things like the same with like language. I think we did one on the language page where like, if someone's below the normal speaking age, we're not going to ask what's the primary language this person speaks, because they're probably not talking at all. So we do try to do that moving forward. I think you make a good point that we need to kind of look backwards at some of our things like income, things like that, of like, is it really appropriate to ask if like a 2-year-old is earning money? I think in some cases, maybe there's some income that would apply if they're getting some sort of like unearned income on their behalf, but definitely like earned income and stuff. We could probably make the portal more intuitive. So I can make a note about that. I don't know exactly what way to go with that, but I think it's a good suggestion.
So what's the first part we're voting on first?
Sorry, that was a little side conversation, kind of like related to this, but not quite. So what we're actually voting on here is, hopefully this proposal isn't entirely new. We had come up with a lot of help text to support these options, because the current help text says select all values that are true. That's not really giving much, like, we already want them to do that. That's not really giving additional context. If we have help text there, it should explain, what does stay more than halftime mean? What does stay less or equal to halftime mean? Like, what does receives less than or half equal to half the meals? Anyway, we came up with a lot of this help text, but what we're proposing here is to introduce some logic to the system to know, like, okay, this person's only applying for SNAP. We don't need to display any of the information that doesn't apply to SNAP, or this person's only applying for medical and SNAP. We can cut out anything related to TANF or ERDC. So that's what we're voting on, is making a bit of making the system a little bit smarter, as April referred to it, and having this logic to only display the relevant information.
I understand that part, but I was asking, are we doing the medical first and voting on it, and then SNAP later, or SNAP after that, or which one?
It's the whole thing. And medical and SNAP are just the two examples I gave. So this would apply to all the programs and any different combination of those programs that was appropriate. So we're voting on, do we want to update this request with this additional logic to be program specific with the display?
Okay, so I am getting some yeses in. So my vote would be yes. So Vixen is a yes. Susan's a yes. Ingra is a yes. So who are we missing? Susan, is yours a yes? Yeah, okay. And Maria, you said yes too?
Yep, I think we got everyone.
Okay, what about Brandy?
Yes.
I see Brandy Strom, and Brandy Arthur does not vote because she works for the state.
Sydney, did we get a vote from you?
I see Sydney.
Okay. April, yes?
Yep,
Okay.
I see April in the chat. I think we're good. I think I see everybody.
Okay, so there is your vote, including myself.
Great. Thank you, everybody. I know we spent a lot of time last year on this one already, but just wanted to make sure that, this was okay to move forward with a slightly different proposal, which should hopefully work better for policy too. So we get a approval on that one. So next up, I will hand it to Veronica to talk about request 129. I think this was a request that came from OIC and specifically Maria.
All right, so request 129. So this request is updating or adding language to the reported change and renewal flows to give users a head up that if they exit in the middle of reporting their changes or in the middle of doing their renewal, the changes that they've made will not be saved. And when they come back, they'll have to start over. I think the first screenshot here, yes, that one. This is a existing pop-up that we have that pops up when users select the option to report a change in how we contact you. They get this pop-up that has their contact information on there and relevant information to contact information updates that they need to know. This highlighted section here in yellow is the language proposal. So we would be adding at the end of the first paragraph something that says, once you start, you cannot save your progress. If you do not complete your change and submit it to us, all changes you make will be lost. And we can tweak the verbiage if we need to. And then Andrew, if you scroll down, we have.
Yeah, sorry, give me just 1 second. Dion, are you not seeing the screen share?
No.
Let
I
me
was
just
wondering, maybe it's on my end, but it sounds like Maria's able to see it, so it's probably just me.
Yeah, it seems like most people are. Just to be safe, I'm gonna stop sharing and just reshare it, just to in case anyone isn't seeing it.
While Andrew's doing that, does anybody have any questions so far?
Yeah, Veronica, this is George. Is there a reason why you're changing it to where you're doing this in one single setting instead of
So we're not changing the system functionality. The system is already designed to where if the user exits in the middle of reporting a change or doing the renewal, their information won't be saved. That already exists. This request is just adding verbiage to some screens to let users know that, hey, you have to complete the whole change in one action. You can't like exit and then come back to where you left off.
Okay, now is this to protect the person that's putting in this information? So then
it's more of to let them know like, hey, you can't come back in here and pick up where you left off. So you might want to have like your income information ready, your tax, whatever information that you need to complete your report of change in one go. You'll want to have that ready because if you log out of the system, you'll have to start over.
But is this going to protect the consumer so they can understand?
Are you asking why we don't allow to save a change?
Yeah.
It's because of the way the system's built. So when someone's reporting or when someone's applying for the first time, the reason we can allow a save there is because that information hasn't been submitted to our worker portal side yet. Worker portal is what we would refer to as the system of record. So once that initial application is submitted and that information goes to our worker portal system, our workers have access to that and can update that, can make changes to that. So the issue we would run into if we allowed users on the applicant portal one online portal side to save a change that they're reporting, say you go in to report a change in your income, report that change, but you start that change, you save it halfway through. In between the time of you saving it and coming back, something could have happened on the worker portal side that changes your case, changes what's going on with your case. And then you go back and you pick up that change from where you left off and you submit that income change. We've now created like a situation where we're not keeping a good record of like what's been updated and when, so it creates this conflict. So that's why after the initial application is submitted, we don't allow to save like a reported change or a renewal or anything like that because we can't allow these simultaneous updates from different sources.
Okay, well, here in Maria said it would be nice if it was a pop-up screen before they start support change renewal.
Yeah, so the first screenshot we shared is actually a pop-up before they start. But this pop-up is only for the reported change in how we contact you flow. We can look at adding a pop-up for the second screenshot that Andrew was sharing, which is like the main reported change flow where they can report all of the different things. The red box here is where we were originally proposing to add some verbiage, which we can still add something here too, but we can also look at doing a pop-up like Maria suggested.
Well, I like how you're doing this because with the understanding it keeps the hackers from getting this information. I can see another reason why with this.
And I think we have one more screenshot to show you guys, and that is what users see when they go in to do their renewal or their periodic report. The highlighted section here is the verbiage we're proposing here, which we can, like I said for the earlier screenshot, we can still add the verbiage, but do a pop-up as well. Or at least ask Deloitte if they'll do a pop-up for us in a work item.
Yes, I want to hear from Maria maybe a little bit. So knowing that on this renewal and periodic report and on the reported change in how we contact you, we already do have this like information there. Like it sounds like maybe what we're doing is not the right way. Like that a pop-up would be more like in your face, for lack of a better terms, of like, hey, you need to understand this before you even get started. Like you cannot save this. You need and so maybe looking at a pop-up is the right way to go.
Well, okay, Veronica, I wanna make sure I understand. You said that the first screenshot that you shared was a pop-up. Okay, so like let's say we went in to kind of try to report a change, then this will pop up or something. Is that how it works?
Well, it would look differently for the main reported change flow because the verbiage here is specific to updating contact information. It doesn't really apply to the other flow. But yes, we can, I can make a mock-up or something to bring you guys for next month of what it would look like if we added a pop-up to the main reported change flow.
Okay, well, because I was just thinking that if we're like on that, let's say we're just kind of on that reported change and then like let's say if, for example, if this popped up and then another pop-up, if there was like another pop-up, that might be too many pop-ups. That's why I'm checking. Okay.
Yeah, no, good call out. It would only be one pop-up per each different button that they choose. So they have like 3 different ways of how they report changes. Just the flow for the contact information, then the overall reported change, and then the renewal. So it would be a pop-up, one pop-up for all the 3 different scenarios.
Right. I guess I was trying to like picture, like I mentioned, like kind of like a warning pop-up, like, do you still want to begin, or just making sure that you have all the information since you won't be able to save it. Like, I think that would be helpful. Yeah. Okay, and then for the second and the third screenshots, did you say those were also pop-ups?
These are not. These are the
not.
two that are missing the pop-ups.
Okay. Okay. I kind of wanted to hear from the rest of the group what they thought.
So you're not asking to have this on a vote, right?
Well, it sounds like I need to bring this back with some more mock-ups for next meeting, but I would love to hear additional feedback.
So this one, the renewal, do we already have that highlight text available, or is this something that we are trying to add?
The highlighted text is what we are trying to add here.
Okay. Okay.
And this is difficult.
But I would love to see the pop-up at least for the renewal, because I actually have a lot of experience, like kind of we've been like working so hard to renew, information, like figuring out the income and all that. And we are like, oh my God, we just don't have everything in this sitting. But then realize that, okay, we cannot save any of this that we've been working for 45 minutes. So would love to have that, especially in renewal as a pop-up window. Thank you.
So what's this here?
I just wanted to clarify the current pop-up that we have, that first image that we were looking at, occurs when you click this update contact information. What we don't have, what we don't have is a pop-up when you click this report a change button, or when you initiate. This is the RFI section, but it looks very similar to the renewal section. Is when you initiate a renewal from clicking, like again, this it's the RFI section, but if that was to say like renew periodic report, there's no update, there's no pop-ups on those, but there is on the update contact information button. So we want to, it sounds like, have a pop-up for all of the options to really make it clear, like when you start this action, you're not going to be able to save it.
Yes. Thank you.
Right, Andrew, I think it's most important for those like reporting changes or renewals where we may end up spending a lot of time on them and then not not be able to save it at the end. Yeah, but I think also sometimes we might have these surprise questions along the way, and we can't help it. Yeah.
Well, at first it was a little confusing. But there again, it's keeping hackers from having to grab the information once it's lost. It has its advantage and disadvantage on this, I'm thinking.
Veronica, I was just thinking we lost a couple of folks who had to leave a little early, so I'm wondering if we could work on it some more for next time.
Yeah, I will be bringing some mock-up backs for you guys for next time, so we'll definitely discuss it more in July. Do we want to leave the highlighted verbiage that we've added here, or do we not think that that is necessary if we're going to have the pop-up?
I think it's still helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think actually now I'm second guess. I don't know if I pasted that in there or if that might already be in the renewal periodic report screen.
Okay.
If you take it out and the information gets lost, then people are going to go say, okay, well, what happened to it?
Yeah, I don't think we would take it out unless we felt the pop-up was sufficient in giving that heads up.
probably more reason to have pop-up because I'm sorry, I don't remember seeing this text at all. Maybe it's just me.
No, and so one thing that this I can tell by the color of these buttons that I pulled this from a design document and not from the actual system because the button's blue in the actual system. So there's a chance this design screenshot from our documentation is out of date. So it may not say that, but we'll make sure that we review that.
Hey, Veronica, can we bring this back to next meeting? Because it's already 12 something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Dion, can you make sure that it's on the list for next meeting? Where'd he go?
George, we'll make sure it's on the list. It'll
Okay.
yeah, it'll live on our
Okay.
our sheet here.
Yeah, I thought I was on video and I was nodding my head real aggressively, but yeah, we'll get it for July.
Okay, so we've got one. Okay, so what number are we on now? 142?
142. Yep. And so, considering we may not get to a vote on this, considering we're missing a couple people and we're coming close to the end of our meeting here, but I'll do what I can to kind of set the stage for maybe a decision next month. So the request here is to update the ONE homepage to add a single login / create account option and direct users to the login screen. So this came as a suggestion from a work group that me and Veronica and some others of us are working on in regards to resolving issues that we have around duplicate accounts. So we have a number of folks who, for one reason or another, end up creating duplicate accounts, which creates issues within our system. We're trying to clean those up and find ways to prevent someone from creating a duplicate account. And one common way that happens is when someone, when you're receiving benefits, you may not interact with our website you may come in once a year, you may come in once every 6 months, and it's a lot to ask to remember your password, remember if you have an account, things like that. So we run into an issue a lot where people are, rather than logging into an existing account, just create a new account. So there's a number of things that we're trying to work on and think about to help that issue. But this one particularly is kind of streamlining the process of accessing the website. And rather than providing two different ways of, choosing to create an account and start a new account or choosing to log in, take the user only to the login screen. So currently we just display create an account and manage an account options on the home screen as separate options. And the create an account options displayed first. That will inadvertently lead users to choosing to create an account before they've ever even been presented with the option to log into an existing account. So the proposal here is to combine them. This is the current design. It's two separate options on the home screen. The proposal is to combine it into a single login option. So log in or create an account. And we have some verbiage suggestions of exactly what we would want to see in terms of the subtext here. So we would want to log in or create an account. And then from there, it takes the user to this screen where they do the RIDP and then they log in. And so landing on this login screen on the left side, the first thing they see here is like, hey, log in if you have an account. But they do still have the option on the right-hand side if they don't have an account to create a new account. So the thought here is we're really presenting that option to log in first, where we see a lot of issues with folks who do have an account just being directed to that create an account flow, and then they're creating duplicate accounts. So here, we'd really make sure to give that option to log in before we're bringing the user to the setting up your account screen. Any questions so far on that?
This is George. There is a question. If a person is creating a new account and such, what thing will come up to tell me whether a picture is needed for my profile?
You talking about with the new remote identity proofing?
Yes.
So yeah, that will just come up during the process of creating the new account. So the first thing that you see is a screen. I don't think I have a screenshot of it here. It's the screen where you enter all of your like your first name, last name, social security number, address, things like that. And or sorry, it's a you're choosing if let me just pull it up. I'm making it more confusing by explaining it wrong. Apologies. Um, bear with me. So it's this screen where you first select if you're setting up your account as an individual or an authorized representative. Then you're filling out your first name, last name, email address, username, and password. So at this point, we haven't yet got into that identity proofing, George, to answer your question. So first, we need someone to complete this information. Then we send them a link to verify their email address. And then once they verify their email address, they would go into that remote identity proofing process.
And this starts in July, right?
The remote identity proofing does. That's a slightly different thing than what we're talking about right now, but that process does start in July.
So now does your customer service know about this side of things? So if consumers are running into a problem, that your customer service will know the answer to all this?
Yeah, that's like the APTT team, Rocio's team, very familiar with all of these processes, and they will be familiar with the new RIDP process to help users through issues that they encounter.
And so now, how long will the people, especially with people with a disability, how long will it take now to try to get in to talk to a real person?
I don't have answers on the wait time. I don't think it's particularly long for the APTT team.
Yeah, for the applicant portal technical team, wait times are under 10 minutes typically. Rocio, though, if you have any further information, it was under 10 minutes for most days from the last update that I got from managers, but I'll let Rocio give us an update if that's changed.
Yeah, our average wait time is 7 minutes.
Okay.
This was from last week's data.
Okay. And how many phone numbers have you guys thought about having to speed up? Are you guys going to be having two types of phone numbers instead of one?
There's no plan for that, George. And considering the volume of calls and things that we get for APTT, at 7 minutes is pretty, I think, pretty reasonable.
I just thought I would ask.
Yeah, as far as I know, we're making a lot of changes to our phone system in general over the next 6 months to a year, I think, and so that could change things, but I don't think adding an additional phone number is part of that.
Here's a question you might not be able to ask. Are you guys going to have AI at the beginning of this customer service on the phone? Where someone dials in and they end up with AI?
I don't think we have AI, but we have an IVR process, which is like I don't even remember what IVR stands for, but it's the typical like call tree sort of thing that helps, navigate the call to the right person.
Interactive voice response.
Thanks, Veronica.
Rocio, I would suggest that if you guys decide to put AI, please don't in front of the customer service. It drives people nuts. It turns people away also.
Understandable.
Yeah, on a personal level, George, I agree with you, but
Yeah.
some of the decisions on the technology that we use are a little above most of the folks here on this committee. But yeah, we've kind of veered significantly off course from what this particular request is, and we're towards the end of the agenda. So I think, we'll bring this back and discuss when the full group is here next month and try to get this to a vote. But we had on the agenda, we had one last item, kind of just like a wrap up check in on where's the agenda here? Give me just a second.
I was just only giving a suggestion, Andrew.
No, George, I appreciate it. I didn't mean to shut it down. And like I said, I, you know, I just think some of that level of like decision on technology is like a little out of scope for us. But again, not a bad suggestion. I didn't mean to shut it down in that way. So the last thing on the agenda we had was for a recruiting update on James's backfill from Azucena.
Right. So yes, we are filling behind James. We are doing our first round of interviews this week. I am hoping, it is quite a hope though, to do second round interviews next week. Ideally all day Wednesday, potentially. No, could be wrong. But hoping for just one day on Wednesday. So I think it's Tuesday or Thursday were my hopes. If there is OOIC member who would be interested in joining the interview panel for the next round interview, I would love to see one of y'all there to help score the candidates. It is a very structured scoring process. There are very specific things that we're going to be looking for and very specific definitions of how to score. So we'll probably have to meet beforehand to walk you through that process. But if there is somebody who is interested, I'd be more than happy to kind of walk you through, to meet with you specifically to go through like what that panelist process looks like, how we're going to score, what that day might look like. We don't know exactly if it's 1 day or 2 days because we have to figure out what this first interview round will look like to see how many folks move through. And then depending on how many folks move through the next round, it's how we will be able to kind of build out what that hopefully 1 day looks like, potentially 2. And also I have to make sure that we have enough people for it to be a panel interview. So I'm also checking to see how many folks I can get that bring kind of a diverse background or that come from the different areas that James helps will kind of be wonderful. So if anybody is interested, please reach out to me and I would love to connect with you. And just so you don't have to look for my email, I will put it in the chat. But yes, we're looking, it will likely be kind of a full day at least. Hoping to keep it to 1 day, could be like a day and a half, depending on what it looks like and who's able to make it. Sometimes I have to, in order to get enough people to join a panel, I have to kind of finagle the schedule a little bit.
So what day are you thinking about having this on?
It's my hope is, it's next. So my hope is next week, either between the 16th through the 18th, as much as possible. And if not, it would have to wait until the week of the 29th.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because my first Thursdays of each month, I have to have a commissioner meeting. And what time would you be holding this?
It's going to be all day. Assume it's an all day thing. It's pretty intense. Like interview panels are pretty intense because we are gonna be meeting, generally speaking, it's like back-to-back interviews, and we have just a little bit of time to score between interviews. So we have to try to do as much as we can. And we'll have our breaks and our lunches, right? But generally speaking, it is a full day event.
I was asking about what time.
What do you mean? It would like an 8 to 5. And I won't know exactly until we finish these first round interviews. So I won't have exact time until after the end of closer to when are we doing? Yeah, it won't be until next week because I think our interviews are Thursday and Friday of this week.
Okay, so with that in mind, I want to give you the heads up. If you want the people with a disability to join, please not have it at 8 or 9 in the morning, because that's their personal time that they need to get things done. So I'm suggesting 10:45 a.m. to start.
I cannot promise that right now just because of the number of candidates that I don't know what it's going to look like. If we only have like 4 or 5 people moving to second rounds, I can easily make that happen. But if we're having to interview like 7 or 8, and I only have a panel for a full day, and it would have to be like somebody's going to be out the next day, which I already know is happening. I may have to do it all in one day, and it would have to start earlier. So it really depends, because it's not just based off of like my schedule, it's based off of a lot of folks who would be available. And so I will do the best that I can, but it really depends on how many folks move forward. So if, like I said, if folks are interested, feel free to send me an email and I can check in individually, and I will try to work with your schedule as best I can. But just know right now there's a lot still up in the air because I won't know exact details until after we get done with Friday's interviews.
So say that like they start at 8 or 9 in the morning, and a person with a disability wants to still join. Could they come in at 10?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
That solves that problem.
Like I said, I will try to do my best to, like, if we only have a shorter number of people to start later, like I will try my absolute best, but I won't know those details until Friday.
Susanna, I want to just clarify for whoever may be interested to be part of that they would need to commit to the full, they wouldn't able just to join like one interview, right? They would need to commit to the full day for all of the candidates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to try to clarify that. And I know a lot of our committee members aren't available to hear this update. So yeah.
No. Yes, thank you. And the idea behind that is we want the same people to score everybody the exact same way. So if we're missing somebody, we're missing a voice who might have been like, oh no, but have you thought of this, right? So we want to make sure that all the same perspectives that are scoring the first candidate is there throughout the entire process. So we know we're scoring them the exact same way.
Exactly. Okay.
Is there any questions before we go on?
I would just add to that. I think the purpose, like if we're able to do it now or this week, would be to just identify anyone who might be interested. And then once we get to understanding or knowing what the details are, then we can connect with that person and see if they're still able or, available.
And with that said, Dion is kind and generous and helping me with the scheduling and all the back end stuff. So if you're going to email me, feel free to email Dion as well. That way we're both up to date with who we want to keep connecting with as we move through the process.
I would be interested, but it all depends on what time it starts.
Thank you. And I will keep that in mind.
Now, since there's no answer or no questions for Lucinda, my thing, since I'm up here, we need to have a lot of people start bringing in more requests. as I understand it, we're running out of requests, correct, Andrew?
Yeah, I know there's some that the state needs to follow up on before we bring them to the group, and then I haven't actually looked this week to see. So I know we're running.
I think there were new ones that were actually submitted because I have 3 in my bucket to research. So yeah, we have a
Yeah,
few.
not to say that we don't want more. I think it's a good situation if we have more than we can currently work on, because that means we'll get like a good backlog of things to move forward to future meetings. So I would still say that, encouraging people to submit suggestions is what we want to do. But I do think we have some to work on as we go forward as well.
Okay, well, I've been working on some case managers down here in Southern Oregon. So, to talk to their consumers, constituents, and what have you. So I'm doing my part. Now it's up to everybody else to try to get, more requests in, because the more that we work on, the better we're going to be in a better position. So.
Agree, George, and appreciate you doing that outreach. So yeah, just I think the only other thing on our agenda here is to recap. And I know we're already over time, but to recap, we are bringing a few things back. The state has some action items on the flyer, and we'll bring that back. Veronica and I, both of the 2 second requests that we reviewed will be brought back next month, and then we'll bring request 70. We'll push request 77 part 2 forward and get approvals on that one. With that, I'll give it back to you, George, to sign us off for the month.
Okay, so with that being said, is there anything we need to talk about, anything before I sign off or before I adjourn?
I think we're good.
Maria, Susan, Sydney? Nope. Okay, well, I will see all of you, Andrew, Dion, and so on and so forth, on the first week of July. And we'll have our meeting on Monday, the next following week. So you be safe. Oh, and by the way, happy Father's Day. I know it's really early. Father's Day coming up. Have all the fun you can have. So I will see you all in the next meeting.
Thanks,
And
George.
George.
meeting adjourned.